Good morning, students. Next topic, that is the last topic in physics, is semiconductors and electronics. In this two parts are there again. One is analog electronics, another one is digital electronics. We are discussing now analog electronics. The difference is, in the digital we have only two values, whether high voltage or zero voltage, high low. Cut the logic gates related. Analog means what? Continuous variation. You can take the sine wave function if you have taken voltage versus time. If you take continuous variation, you can find all the values from 0 to maximum and then 0. That means values of 1, 2, 3, 4 possible to get all the values. But in digital system, digital electronics, we have either high voltage or zero voltage, or high voltage and zero voltage. High voltage we use for the 5 volts and zero voltage. Voltage is high or low. That is related to the digital electronics that we will discuss later. First we discuss the analog electronics. In the analog electronics, continuous variation of the voltage takes place. Next is based on the electrical properties. The materials are of three types based on the electric properties. Metals of three types. One is conductors, insulators, semiconductors. In the case of conductors, electron can travel easily from one atom to other atom. Conduction means motion. Charges can move easily in the case of the conductors, and they are ohmic substances. The graph between the voltage and current is a straight line passing through origin. If voltage is reversed, current direction reverses, but the value remains same for the given voltages. That is the case of conductors. They are ohmic substances. And in the case of the insulators, in the case of insulators, electrons are strongly bound to the nucleus. In the case of conductors, electrons are not strongly bound to the nucleus. They can easily move from one atom to other atom. That means without supplying the voltage also, if you take the metal conductors, if you take copper, if one electron is here, means it won't stand there. It keeps on moving randomly, just like the air molecules in the room, or move randomly without applying the voltage only. But number of electrons going one side equal number of electrons going other side. In the case of conductors I am discussing, in the number of electrons going one side equal to number of electrons going other side, net current will be 0 without applying voltage or battery potential difference. If you apply the potential difference, then charges are forced to travel in the specific direction because the electric field produced inside by applied battery voltage potential difference. So electrons travel from current travel from high potential to low potential, electrons travel from low to high in opposite direction to the electric fields. Next, in the case of the insulators, electrons are strongly bound to the nucleus, like plastic. You can take a plastic, glass, phosphorus, etc. These are non-ohmic substances. Insulators are non-ohmic, they do not obey Ohm's law. And even if the high voltage applied, current can pass, but still V is not proportional to I. It does not obey Ohm's law. VI graph is not a straight line passing through origin. That means this is also non-ohmic. Only conductors are ohmic, these two are non-ohmic. Do not obey Ohm's law. And semiconductors have the properties intermediate that of the insulators and conductors. Insulators do not conduct the electricity, do not let the electrons to pass easily from one atom to the other. Easily, I said, means with high energy it is possible to pass. There is no perfect insulator. Pure water is a better insulator we generally consider, but even that also starts conducting when the voltage is very high. If you take the 10,000 volts, more than that, it is even 1 kilovolts also. Million volts if you take it means 1 meter distance also electrical charges. 1 kilovolts like that if you take it means 1 millimeters gap, charges can jump even in the air also. Air also can conduct, vacuum also can conduct, everything in the space what we know, every instrument, every material starts conducting when the voltage is very high or electric field is very strong. So insulators behave as conductors at high temperatures or high voltages we can say. Next is semiconductors have the properties between that of the conductors and insulators. Semi means half. So they have the properties in between, means at low temperatures they behave as insulators, at high temperatures they behave as conductors. This is low temperatures insulators, low temperatures insulators, high temperatures they behave as conductors. So semiconductors are both properties. Low temperature in the sense, even at room temperature also if you take silicon at room temperature behaves like insulator, but germanium is also semiconductor, it behaves like a conductor at room temperature. At room temperature it behaves as a conductors. So this generally we take is silicon and germanium. Based on in the periodic table, if you check up now, the valence electron number for the elements, if the valence electron number is less than 4, they are conductors. Valence electron number is equal to 4 are semiconductors. And in the case of insulators, valence electron number is greater than 4. Valence electron number greater than 4 are insulators, equal to 4 are semiconductors, less than 4 are conductors. So in the fourth group element, it means to say fourth group element, other elements, even carbon is also present in the semiconductor, but carbon available in multiple allotropic forms. Same carbon as a diamond is an insulator, but carbon as a graphite, that are pencil lead, is a conductors. And carbon as a carbon in the coal piece, what you are seeing as a black coal piece, that is also a conductor of electricity. So the semiconductors, we don't consider the coal, that means carbon as one of them. We take the other silicon and germanium. Mainly we are going to use example for the semiconductors in the crystalline form, that too, not in the amorphous form. Crystals, amorphous difference is that amorphous forms, these atoms are arranged randomly. In the crystalline form, they are arranged in a particular order. So we are going to discuss the crystalline form only. Energy band, okay, one more thing. You need to know that valence electron number for semiconductor is 4, and less than 4 for conductors, more than 4 for insulators. Okay. Next, that means 1 to 3 groups conductors, after 4, 5, 6 groups are insulators. Energy band diagrams. The range of energies possessed by the charges is called as the energy band diagram. Band means group. We are taking here the group of energies. We are taking in the particular values in the diagram pattern. We take that is called as the energy band diagrams. This has 3 parts. One is called as a conduction band, second is valence band, and then forbidden energy gap, are simply called as the energy gap. Symbols: conduction band CB, valence band VB, and energy gap we take it as a EG. In this energy band diagrams, we take the 3 parts. We will discuss this first. This is energy increasing in these directions. In the electrons world, we generally discuss. And insulators. In the case of the insulators, the gap between the energy valence band and conduction is very large. What is the valence band means? The energy of the electrons or charges in the valence shell. Valence shell means outermost orbit. The valence shell. The range of energy possessed by the electron in the valence shell is called as a valence band. And range of electrons, range of energy is possessed by the electron which is free. Free means not attracted by the nucleus of the atom and able to move from one atom to atom freely. That is a free electron. The free electron energy itself is called as a conduction band. So conduction band electron is called as a free electrons, which are able to move freely. In the case of conductor, they can move freely without applying the battery also, battery voltage also. So valence band is a range of energies possessed by the electrons in the outermost orbit and not able to move freely. And conduction band is a range of energies, means here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 electrons, like that we take. This most outermost orbit and in little inner orbit, like that we can take. Or many atoms you are taking means multiple, all the atoms in the material, we take the multiple electron symbol here, like this we take electrons present here. In the valence band means they are bound to the nucleus. Conduction band means they are becoming free. When they can become free, if we supply some energy by means of the photoelectric effect, by applying the photons of particular energy falling on the metal surface, or by heating, by applying the electric field. If your electron overcomes with the attraction of the nucleus and comes out of the atom, we say the electron is free. The electron is bound to the nucleus means it is in the valence band, we say. When it becomes free means we say it is as a conduction band. And the energy we are supplying to make it free, to escape from the attraction of the nucleus, that is called as a energy gap. So in the case of the conductors, if you check up, in the case of conductors, there is no energy gap between the conduction and valence band, they overlap. CB conduction bands and valence bands overlap. They are mixed up. There is no energy gap like. Means what? Electron which is in the valence band also behaves like in the conduction bands. Both mixed up. That means energy is bound to the nucleus also behaves and also able to move from one atom to other atom. It is strongly bound to the nucleus. So this is related to the conductors. You need to remember the value. Energy gap how much is for conductors means 0. Next, insulators. Insulators, we require large energy to take the electrons from the valence band to conduction band. To transfer from valence band to conduction band, we require large energy. And energy is more than 3 electron volts. Diamond is an insulator. The energy gap for this diamond is 3, more than 3 electron, 3 to 5 generally they mention different in different books. Will equal to, greater than or we will take is 3 electron volts. That means if you apply the energy of 3 electron volts, the diamond starts conducting. Diamonds and diamonds. Another one is mica. They are the good conductors of heat but bad conductors of electricity, both of these two. Generally other materials good conductors of electricity means good conductors of the heat also, but not diamond and mica. Mica is an aluminum compound, diamond is a amorphous form of carbon. So diamond has a energy gap 3 electron volts. They don't ask the value, just know that example of the diamond is an insulator, electrical insulator. Next is if we come to semiconductors. Semiconductors we require little energy gap required to take the electrons from the valence band to conduction bands. Example we take is silicon and germanium. For germanium you require only 0.7 electron volts to take the electron from the valence band to conduction bands. That means to make the electron free from the attraction of the nucleus. And silicon energy gap is in the order of these energy gap values. For silicon, energy gap value is 1.1 electron volts approximately, and we take the average. Generally we mention around 1 electron volts. Energy gap of the semiconductors is approximately around 1 electron volts, and for the insulators it is more than 3 electron volts. Next is types of semiconductors. Types of semiconductors we are talking about in the crystalline form only. There one is intrinsic semiconductor, another one is called as a extrinsic semiconductors. Intrinsic, extrinsic. Two types of the semiconductors are there. One is intrinsic semiconductor, also called as a pure semiconductor. Crystalline form we are taking here crystals. In the case of the crystals, atoms are in the particular arranged in the particular geometrical pattern, and each arrangement of the arrangement of the atom is called as a cell, unit cell. Arrangement repeating in the multiple directions, the particular distances with the particular order will give the complete crystal, called as a cubical crystal we are discussing here, or any shape we can take. In this we are going to discuss the free charge density. Free charge density is nothing but number of charges per unit volume is called as a free charge density. More charges are there in the given volume of the material indicates more is a free charge density. It is mentioned in terms of units per cubic meter, number of particles per cubic meter, number of charges per cubic meters. This silicon if you take the silicon crystals, this is the valence electron number. Valence is 4. Valence electron number means number of electrons outermost orbit is 4. So they form bond between these electrons form bonds between the atoms, or atoms are bonds by sharing the electrons. That bond is called as a covalent bond. It is one of the strongest bonds. That means electron, if you want to make it free for conduction, to make it out, you have to break the bond. The attraction is there between these two electrons, between the spin. Negative charges repulsion will be there, but actually due to the spin they can have the magnetic field and they can bond together by attractions. Like charges in the same direction motion will be attracted, protons and electrons whatever you take here, depending on the spin also the bond is formed, whatever. The covalent bond is one of the strongest bonds which binds the atoms here by sharing the electrons. So if you want to make the electron free, we must break the bond. If we break the bond, then electron becomes free. So these bonds breaking, it requires little more energy. That is itself is nothing but equal to energy gap we can take. Energy gap is nothing but equal to energy required to break the covalent bond and to make the electron become free. Here at low temperatures, if you check up, no electron is free, all bonds are completed. So at low temperatures, electrons are present here. Electrons are only in the valence band. They are in the outermost orbit, means they will be in the valence band. Conduction band is empty. This is empty at low temperature. Low temperature we generally discuss in theoretically as 0 kelvins, minus 273.15 degrees centigrade, very low temperature discussing, and just even below 0 degree room temperature also we can just discuss for these silicon and germanium, or 0 degree centigrade below that. If you take this low temperatures, valence electrons or charges are only in the valence band. Conduction band is empty and valence band is full. And if you heat this material, then what happens? When you heat the material, this material by supplying some energy, heat energy, electrons gain the kinetic energy and they break the bonds and come out. And these electrons what we are talking is the surface electrons. Surface electrons are very few in number compared to the total electrons. Their conduction is negligible. So talking about this more number of electrons possibility, but can move. So these electrons which are in the bond, now they break because they get the enough kinetic energy by absorbing the heat energy, and they break this bond and come out of it. When this, for example, this electron took the enough energy and came out. This electron came out. Now bond is incomplete. When bond is incomplete, this incomplete bond means what? This atom is actually electrically neutral, and what we are going to discuss all the materials in this topic, they are electrically neutral only, please. and this electron came out. When the electron leaves the place, number of protons will be more in number here. Neutral atom means what? Number of electrons equal to number of protons. The number of protons are more inside the nucleus of this, means it becomes like a positive ion and is able to attract one electron to become neutral. It always tries to become neutral, means what? It is trying to complete the bond. So it tried to attract one electron from other places. Now this incomplete bond is incomplete bond having the empty space in the outermost orbit. Outermost is corresponding to the valence band, and this is called as a hole. Now we have the two kind of charged particles called as electrons and holes. Holes are not really particles, so really not particles place. This dot I am mentioning is electron, and this circle is nothing but equal to hole. It behaves like a positive charge, this behaves like a negative charge, and the charge of the electron is E, so it is plus E, this is a minus E charge. Volume of the metal is same, but in that only we are getting the two kind of charged particles now called as a hole. Hole is not a particle, behaves like a particle and moves slowly compared to the electrons. Electrons can move everywhere, but holes cannot move anywhere. There will be in the outermost orbit only. Outermost orbit means what? Valence band. Here if one electron jumped, from valence band to conduction band, then here hole is created, here electron is present. So here you will get one hole, here one electron. One more electron jumped, then there also one more hole and one more electron. That means number of electrons will be equal to number of holes, and number of holes equal to number of electrons. This point is important for the intrinsic semiconductors. This hole concentration is equals to electron concentration of the charged particles. In these holes behave like a charged particles. They move. How do they move? They actually not move, but behaves as if they are moving it. For example, this attracting one electron, this electron gets the enough kinetic energy and comes out free. When it comes out free, it can be attracted by this incomplete bond, that is a hole. This electron will jump and occupy this place. Whenever this occupies this place, the hole is disappearing. When hole is disappeared, but hole created here, in empty space is created here. That means hole behaves as if it is passing to the left side, electrons behaves passing to the right side. That means electrons holes are traveling in the upper direction, just like the two-way traffic. If you take the semiconductor like this, if holes, electrons go this side, holes will be going in the opposite directions. And total current, when the unlike charges are traveling in opposite direction, total current is supposed to be, you have to consider it as sum of the two currents, hole currents and electron currents. Total current is supposed to be equal to hole current plus electron current, and you have to take the help of the battery connected across this. When you connect the battery across this, is a plus minus. Plus repels the holes behaves like a positive charged particles, and in the direction of electric field will be there, this direction of conventional current, this direction of hole current, and electron current will be opposite directions. This is the electron current. So total current is nothing but equal to hole current plus electron current. Total current equal to current due to the holes plus current due to electrons. Current is increasing here because of the two charged particles, so current increases. More bonds break, more current increasing. But all the bonds break means the crystal will not be there. So we cannot increase the temperature to damage this crystal. More bonds broken means the crystal will be damaged. So you have to avoid it. To avoid this, we have to take the help of other method of increasing the current or conduction. That is by taking the impurities added to the pure crystal. It is called as extrinsic semiconductors. And in these two, whether extrinsic or intrinsic, we are taking the help of one equation for the problem's purpose, that is called as a mass action law. It is electrically neutral, means only electrons or holes are just displaced within the metal from one place to other place, but it is electrically neutral in the whole material. That the number of electrons concentration, electron concentration, hole concentration multiplication is nothing but equal to Ni square. It is called as the intrinsic charge concentration, Ni square. This is required for the numericals. Ni is the intrinsic charge volume, is related to the volume concentration. Nh is the whole charge, whole concentration, volume whole charge concentration. This is electron whole charge, electron charge concentration for the given volumes. And material is electrically neutral. This point is important because we are going to discuss later also. P type, N type, positive, negative, like the terms we discuss, but all materials, so intrinsic. We are not adding, removing the electrons from the whole material. They transfer from one atom to other atom within the material. So all the material, the total metal is electrically neutral. Next is extrinsic semiconductors. In the case of extrinsic semiconductors, we add some impurities to the pure crystals. When you add impurity to the pure crystal, it is called as a extrinsic semiconductor, and the conductivity increases. What is the purpose of adding the impurities? To increase the conductivity. And what are the impurities you are adding to increase the conductivity? They are called as dopants. They are called as dopants. And the process is called as doping. Doping is adding of the impurity atoms to the pure crystal atoms to increase the conductivity. What are the type of the dopants we can choose? We cannot choose the element whatever you want. In the periodic table, elements are arranged from left to right side in the order of the atomic number, and size of the atoms increases as you go downward directions. So if you take this is a fourth group element, this is a third group element, this is a fifth group element. The atom size is nearly equal for this row, nearly equals. So we are taking this is silicon or germanium, then we can add impurities as a third group or fifth group elements only preferred. Why? Because if it go too far away from the fourth group, then the properties will be different for the materials, and size also different from the atom to atoms. So if you take this impurity atom added to the pure crystal atom, in the case of the silicon, if you are taken, I am adding some impurity. For example, I am adding third group element aluminum I am adding, or I can add a fifth group element phosphorus. So if I am adding this third group element, this is called as a extrinsic semiconductor or impure semiconductors. That changes the conductivity and increases the conductivity by large amount compared to that of intrinsic semiconductors. And size of the atoms should be nearly equal, because we don't want to damage the crystal structure. Crystal structure should remain same, means all atoms should have the same size, approximately at least. So we have to prefer the size of the atom same. That means for the fourth group, if you want to add, the third and fifth are only preferred. For the silicon and germanium belong to fourth group. Carbon we are not using here. Next is doping concentration. How much impurities we can add? That is called as a doping concentration. You should not add whatever you want. You should not add equal amount also. You have to add very, very less amount. That means if you take 10 to the power of 16 atoms like that, 10 to the power of 14, 15, 16 atoms, you have to add one impurity atoms. One impurity atom added to many pure atoms. If you add equal number, what happens is that impurity atom properties dominate over the original crystal atom properties. We don't want to damage the crystal structure, crystal properties and semiconductor properties. If you add the impurity concentration more, the material becomes completely as like a conductor. So we don't want it to act as a conductor. It should behave as a semiconductor only, and should conduct under specific conditions only. It should not behave as insulator also completely. So we have to control its conductivity by adding only impurities of the specific values, not large quantities, not too low, but less amounts. Generally added is one dopant into the 10 to the power of 16 pure atoms. If you increase you can add a little 2, 3, 4, 5 like that, but not 50%, not large percentages. If you increase the dopant, what happens? Impurity increase means conductivity also increases. More doping is more conductivity. Within particular limits only we have to prefer. And what are the type of extrinsic semiconductors we are going to discuss next.